Dammit, Moffat.
A Doctor review of Series 7, Part 2, Episode 7, A Nightmare in Silver.
Hello, my name is Shamus Kelley.
And I'm Abby Murphy.
And we're here to talk about not probably like the best episode
No,
of this
definitely
season.
the best episode of this season. Thank God.
It was real good. It was much like how the Doctor's wife was, and like of course you're gonna compare it to that.
I mean,
but
obviously the aesthetic was kind of similar.
It comes off as someone who very much is has a lot of great ideas about Doctor Who, and
they're great.
And really just comes in and has fun with it. And it's like I have all these ideas that the people who maybe in the writer's room all the time may not always get. Mm-hmm. A lot of.
I mean, I don't think he could take over and write it the whole thing.
I don't think he'd want to.
He wouldn't want to, but I mean, he writes some really good. I like to see more of his contributing episodes because they've been really, really good.
You should watch Babylon 5 because he contributed an episode to that. So good times, and that was a really good episode. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. But this episode,
the pacing was good.
It was really they were not messing around.
Yeah, they just got straight to the point before the credits. You knew what was happening. You knew it was gonna be all Cybermen.
This had been another episode this season. You wouldn't have seen a Cyberman until 15 minutes into the episode.
And then by that point, you've already lost 15 minutes of the episode and 15 minutes of really the plot.
Yeah, so it was really good.
So happy.
I love me some Warwick Davis.
Yeah, Warwick Davis was great.
Love him.
I was like, is that Warwick Davis?
I mean, the kids did not really do a whole lot. I feel like they may have been added in later.
They were a minor plot device. They
were basically a plot device.
They were kind of they weren't really characters. They were more plot device.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was
the one
good.
The one kid, the girl was rural. She's
Angie and Artie are other names.
I get that she's supposed to be oh, I'm a rebel. I don't think anything is cool because I am a child. I'm it's not that she's badly written. It's just I don't like you as a person.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
as a character.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of her either. She was kind of one-dimensional. But I mean, again, it's a
it's a one-off character.
Exactly.
For this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was cool. It's always nice to have kids in there when they aren't super annoying or anything.
Yeah, the kid, Artie seemed cool.
Yeah.
Angie kind of
don't leave me alone.
Oh, poor kid. It's you never want to be left alone. You never really want the guy who goes to the creepy basement.
Yeah.
We learned a lot of that this episode.
So we have you all have probably watched the episode, so I don't think we need to tell you what happened or anything. Yeah. I will say that the new Cybermen, their faces are a lot like the older Cybermen.
They move fast too. Whoa.
Well, this is the fastest they've ever moved in this show because it's like this and then little mouth.
Yeah, it was kind of cute.
And it's they were doing a time dilation something or other.
The idea that they've upgraded so much that they're able to do a lot more, such as try to convert the Doctor, was really, really well done, I thought.
I'm just still wondering why they didn't just all run really fast the rest of the time.
Yeah, I guess they were in such a large formation. It wouldn't make sense. And then the whole
popping
off different parts to use as decoys and
such. That was super cool.
That was really cool. And then what was it, the Cybermites?
Yes. So we have the Cybermats, and then we have Cybermites.
Oh, and then the music was so good. It was the Cyberman's theme, and it was bringing back all the memories of the Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, and that epic kind of cry, and it was just so good.
And then there was the inside of the Doctor's mind or whatever.
It was so cool. The inside of the Cybermen's mind. You got to see what the interfaces was cool, but the Doctor's mind. It was visually so beautiful. The warm colors versus the cool colors, and it was very, very Jekyll-esque. And I know, obviously,
Yeah.
I love the musical, so they kind of reminded me of the musical Jekyll and Hyde. And then it also reminded me of Moffat's show, Jekyll, which, of course, in turn, all dates back to the original story, Jekyll and Hyde.
I love, I was very much getting the vibe of, and of course you're going to do this anytime you do, two consciousness fighting each other. It's that whole it's like the Gollum Smeagol thing in Lord of the Rings.
Yes,
no.
Matt Smith, man.
He was doing really good.
This series has been so phenomenal. I mean, he always was good, and I've always thought he's a good Doctor, but this series he's just
owning
great.
it.
He's on point. It was so good. The slight difference in his accent a little bit, he was able to accentuate between the two personalities, and it was very reminiscent of James Nesbitt and Jekyll for sure. I kind of used to say, oh, here's Daddy. I kind of expected that, but it didn't actually happen.
And it's
really good, really good.
I love that they brought back, because I've just been watching some older Doctor Who stuff, specifically the Seventh Doctor, and the whole Cyberman Gold thing. It literally used to be, it got to the point in the old series where you could throw some gold coins at a Cyberman, and they would be like, oh no!
That's hilarious.
So it was great that
I need to watch Classic Who.
It is. There is some good stuff, and there's also some stuff that's wow, really? Like, what the F? Like...
I mean, there's like that, it's like the Penny show, but... God, it's just so nice to have a good episode. I feel it was so jam-packed full of stuff, but it didn't drag, and it was just...
And, okay, after a while, like, they've been having this, like, every so often now they show, like, ooh, let's show a bunch of, like, old doctors on screen. I'm like...
They did it well this time.
They did. It's just that after a while, it's like, okay, we've seen it. It's like, it's not as cool as it was, like, the first time they did it.
But when he said, I will see, I literally, like, freaked out, and then I had to rewind it because the computer got all messed up.
Because you were, like, almost like, you may as well just, like, throw the computer out of your
mouth.
Like, no, don't. That was like, pretty great.
It was, like, at midnight when, you know, the things and the voice, and I just had a lot of emotions, and it was really good.
And he also did say fantastic before then.
Oh no, I didn't. Oh god, good thing I didn't like register that.
Because I mean, it was much more like
subtle.
Yeah.
But
and I'm sure he was probably. I think the time when he was like saying like doctor like over and over and over again. I'm sure he said it 11 times. I didn't count, but I'm sure he said it 11 times.
Probably. It was the dialogue was really great. Matt Smith's acting was just. I can't emphasize how wonderful that was. I was like terrifying, but wow, A+ acting. Just, the chess match. Mm-hmm. You had the contrast between the physical battle with the Cybermen and like the mental battle.
Yeah.
He was. It was. There were definitely like elements that you see in like a lot of other kind of stories. The whole, you know, emperor being hidden among the people to kind of escape power. Little bit of a. I don't want to say it was a Deus Ex Machina.
Of like what?
The whole like, oh, I'll just teleport us and we're all.
It was a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina.
It wasn't that bad of a Deus Ex Machina.
But it was a little bit like we could have done this earlier.
But it didn't feel like it wasn't like dinosaurs on a spaceship.
It wasn't like completely like it's sort of like you didn't feel like completely cheated.
Yes, that's the thing. You didn't feel cheated by it, but you're still. It
was easy.
Yeah, it was definitely an easy fix, but I didn't care because I was just like, that was so well written.
And then they of course did the thing where like, you know, the cyber doctor or whatever is like crazy like weird flirting with Clara, and I was like, this ain't really him.
I mean, yeah, you kind of knew it wasn't him. I don't like how they're hinting at the whole, like, romantic feelings, and, like, at the very end of the episode when he's talking about how, you know, she's the impossible girl and wears her skirts, they're just a little bit too tight.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, and then there was, well, we'll get to that after.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And then I made the line about Alonzi.
Alonzi.
And there was a line about the Cybermen where they said waking from their tomb, which is another reference to a classic episode called The Tomb of the Cybermen.
Oh, I love that. That's so clever. Those are like, you're doing it right.
It's not like, let's beat you over the head with a reference. It's like, it's subtlety.
Yes, it was so nice. And I feel like one thing I will say about this whole series, I think we've gotten to see more development of the Doctor's character than Clara's. Like, there wasn't much. Clara was very authoritative this episode, kind of taking a leading role.
There was that.
There
whole
wasn't
bit.
anything glaringly.
Well, there was the one bit where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trust everything the doctor says.
Yeah, that part.
And then it was
that
like,
was
it's like, do you think it's gonna work? It's like, I'm not gonna go that far.
It was cute. It was just like, I feel like we've kind of been not cheated, but little shortchanged for Clara's development. Like, I feel like.
But apparently, now this is like, I don't know how true this is, but apparently she says she's going to be in the next series.
Oh, really?
Apparently.
If so, I would be really interested to see that. I would like that a lot, because then I would feel better about her character development being so slow / non-existent.
And the characterization being much like a lot of things in Doctor Who, which is, by slightly, I mean a lot, sexist.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about this, like, especially this episode really made me think, because I'm really trying to analyze the episodes and see how the treatment of female characters are, especially in terms of the companion. But, of course, the very nature of the companion is it was an assistant-doctor relationship. And I just read a great article, meta thing on Tumblr about it. Mm. And it's just, like, looking back, it's been like that with all the companions. I'm just more aware of it now, so I'm more critical of it. Yeah. I mean, Moffat's certainly
not helping the situation.
Not helping it, as we saw from the prequel, which we will talk about later.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I think, you know, Gaiman did a really nice job with this episode.
Yeah. I think it was just overall, like, really, really enjoyable. It was just.
That's the thing. It was enjoyable. It wasn't like I was like,
okay, when's it gonna be over?
Yeah, because all the other episodes kind of felt like that. Like, we've given them pretty solid ratings.
It's just like, and this is gonna be done soon, or it's like, why is this taking so long? It like literally just feels like a breath of fresh air.
This was such a breath of fresh air. Because I mean, we've rated all the episodes, I think, relatively high this season, but the problem is that in general, compared to the rest of Doctor Who, They're not up there.
not super high, but I would
But
say
this episode,
it's taking a good concept and making it just work even better.
I mean, the whole thing with the amusement park was interesting. It was a very, again, Gaiman's like aesthetic, you know, like you had the kind of trash, not the trash planet. It was like a, I don't know.
Whatever it was.
And the doctor's wife, it was just very, that kind of aesthetic, and the whole, like, masks on their faces were cool.
Well, it was also the way it was shot, whereas, like, anytime it was, like, the cyber doctor, they showed, like, the side of the face.
Jekyll and Hyde.
And then it was the side of the face. I mean, yeah, it was really, really good time. So I guess, do you have anything else to say about the episode? Because you have a lot of notes.
I mean, I always do this so I can remember everything that happened, because I tend to space out. Clara, Doctor Dynamic is always interesting, seeing how they do that. Big gun.
Big gun.
Do you like my gun? A la Clara. It was a good part. I mean, didn't really add anything to her character, but... the marriage proposal. Awkward.
Yeah, that was a little awkward, but she was like, no.
Yeah, it was very, not typical. It's like a plotline that you're kind of familiar with in the kind of Lonely Emperor kind of thing, but I was glad she didn't, say yes.
Oh, well, I wouldn't think so.
Expect her to. But
and then, of course, the kids call her, called the doctor, her boyfriend, which I'm like, that's a super kid thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, that was fine, and they didn't even acknowledge it all, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be like, oh, look at all this sexual tension in the TARDIS. Nobody wants that. Okay, well, let's be real. A lot of fans want that, but I don't want it. But that's just me.
I mean, that's one of the things about Classic Who is there's, no sexual tension at all. They were, except in, the 8th Doctor movie, they were, pretty much, we can't have any sexual tension.
I mean, it was really nice, the whole dynamic between the Doctor and Clara when he's like, oh, you have to immobilize me, and look, I got this chess set, and also good news, bad news, that whole good news, bad news scene was really well played. And I liked, Clara really cared about the kids, and that was her whole driving force the entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it worked.
Yeah. So, overall, what would you give this episode?
I mean,
I'm going to give it 5 out of 5.
Okay, you're going to give it 5 out of 5. I was like, I'm not sure I want to give it a perfect score, but I want to give it a perfect score.
Especially
compared to the rest.
Especially in relation to the rest of the season. Of course there are problems. There are, small things to, be like, oh, Deus Ex, giant spaceship. But, overall, it's really freaking enjoyable.
It was just enjoyable. It was a good television episode, good Doctor Who episode.
I would actually watch it again. Would watch
yes!
again.
Oh my gosh! That's the first time in the series I think I felt that way. I would actually watch that episode again.
It's not like, oh, maybe I'll watch it. It's like, no. I will watch this.
Yeah, there was just so much going on. It was really well done, and you had the little glint of the Cybermen in space at the end, which of course. Of
course it is. Of course, I wouldn't be surprised if they showed up in the finale. I really.
No,
wouldn't.
neither would I.
So, speaking of finales, there was a prequel to the finale.
Because you just got done watching a great episode written by not Stephen Moffat, so let's give you a taste.
I get the feeling this prequel isn't really in anything in continuity. It's sort of just
let's tease the episode. And, talk about how great, what's going to happen.
Trendalore. And then what the awful thing is? That line from...
oh, God.
Where it's like, don't fall in love with him. And I do it that, twice a day. I'm like, what the F?
I like to think that was a reference to her kind of being, in Asylum of the Daleks, when it was all Nina, my first crush, blah, 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 blah. It's just Stephen Moffat's characterization of women is so bad. I mean, the freaking thing was called She Said, He Said. Flips table, flips everything.
It's maybe someone, look, I understand that a lot of people would say, well, of course, if you met the Doctor, you might be attracted to him.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was saying, I was putting it in context. I'm like, well, I could imagine Rose saying these things, and it would not bother me. And I'm aware I'm biased when it comes to that. But Rose had character development.
She had something that wasn't about the Doctor.
Exactly. I just feel like Clara doesn't have that as much.
Clara is like a nanny, and...
Yeah, it's just take care of the kids. Wait.
That's pretty much it. And
she's a strong character. I want to see her do things. I want to see her be not just, trust the Doctor, trust the Doctor, trust the Doctor. It's not Martha was always I would trust the Doctor, but she still, called him on his crap and all of that. And I feel like Clara has the potential to do that, and she's done that a little bit, but... We're already at, what is this, the season, this part of
the series finale.
This is the series finale. We're not
Or it's about to be, yeah.
Clara has done nothing.
Pretty much. It hasn't. It's really been built up for what. I mean, it's
been
all really built up for the.
That's
like,
the thing. They're putting a lot of
50th.
pressure on this episode. Then
There's-
it's gonna be.
I talked about this a little bit on like Facebook and all that and Tumblr.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, this next episode is going to be disappointing.
Yeah.
To like even people who like want to know what his name is, like I don't care what the doctor's name
know.
is. I think we should never know what his name is. But
You know you're not gonna know what his name is. You know you're not gonna be told it.
yeah,
But we get but River Song's gonna be in it.
because like, oh, is she dead? No, she's not. We know she is. We know she's gonna be in it, and like it's just a thing where like once again like because there's so much build up, and that's the problem with so much build up is like there has to be payoff, and there's no way when you have an episode that's basically asking like the doctor's name, it's like nothing's gonna answer this.
It's yeah, I'm not.
It's like saying all your questions will be answered, except they totally won't be.
I mean, I want it to be. Honestly, I just don't expect it to be good.
So you're going in with super low expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to ranting about it. If
Well,
that's
it's-
something.
It's interesting because I did just watch what basically was the 25th anniversary,
Yeah.
which was an episode or a series of episodes called Silver Nemesis,
Mm-hmm.
like 3 parts, and like it was actually written by a guy who'd never like written for Doctor Who before or like really had
Something
watched it
that's
all
nice,
that much.
Though. Well, that's a little.
And his pitch was like, the Doctor is God. and then like the producer was like, okay, I like it, but you can't say it. Like,
Doctor Who, I love
and
it.
it also had Cybermen in it, funnily enough, which is also where they throw gold at them and they explode.
Ah!
But the thing was at the very end, it was all just like there was sort of like this character like knew about the Doctor, and that was sort of like her thing about the episode. It's like have you ever like wondered like who he is? And then like no one knows the Doctor. She's like, I do, but then she like goes off and blows up or whatever. And then at the very end, it's Ace, and she's like, Doctor, who are you? And then he just goes like, and then that's the end of the episode. And I'm like, see, that's the kind like you don't. The audience thinks they want to know, but when they find out,
It's like, don't take the fun about it. Frankly, this series, I don't want to be Doctor Who. I want to be Doctor. Why?
Doctor-
That's what it's felt like. Why are you doing this? Why?
Doctor, why?
Why?
It's
It's a thing.
it's a thing where like it's one of those things like once again where you know more about the Doctor, and that was always the problem with the classic series, was that they kept telling you way too much about like about like Gallifrey and da 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 da.
I mean, I'd like for little things like that, but
It's like if you like do too much, it's like
frankly, I feel like we know a lot about the Doctor now. I feel like we've learned a lot about him, and I think it's really cool. But I just feel cheated because we don't know anything about Clara. And the companion is our viewpoint into she's us. She's us in the TARDIS traveling
Yeah.
with the Doctor, and
there's a reason that like the whole like first episode of the new series was pretty much focused on the companion, and the Doctor was like there, but it like wasn't really about
yeah.
him. It's like that's like it was because that was what they knew they needed to do, because they're like, well, everyone who's really I mean like the nerds are going to watch this and they're going to know about the Doctor, but like for the people who don't give two craps about Doctor Who, we need to get them to care.
Yeah, and it's just I'm not sure the series has really delivered on that so far.
But
And
I
just
think-
and then the next episode's going to be all about the Doctor again.
Well, it's
Question
also the
mark?
thing where it's like I think they also think like, well, people know about Doctor Who now that we don't need. We can focus more on the Doctor, I guess, and
I don't know, but the companions, their names in the credits too. It's Matt Smith, Jenna Coleman. Like, I want to know more about Jenna Coleman. And in the prequel, it's saying, he said, or she said, he said. So she's saying she learned more about the Doctor, and he's saying he learned more about her. So hopefully he'll deliver on that.
maybe, but
big maybe.
And then there's the other thing, and someone messaged us on our YouTube
Yes.
channel and asked us to talk about this. It's a rumor from a not credible source,
The
The
Sun.
Sun, that John Hurt, who is going to be in the 50th anniversary, is like some sort of regeneration between the 8th and 9th
It's
Doctor.
like 8.5.
No, they said like he actually is the 9th Doctor.
Wait.
And then like 9 is now
Don't
10.
take 9
and 10,
away from me.
and 10 is 11, and 11 is 12. And like the whole thing of the 50th anniversary would be like, oh no, this is actually now he's not, he's about to like die or some shit like that. And like people are saying that also because like his costume looks like it's the 9th and 8th
Yeah,
Doctor's
it's a
thing.
little bit of a stretch. I mean, if you look for it, you can see it. I mean, personally,
It could be
yeah.
anything. It could be something like the next Doctor where like they say that's what it is.
It's probably what it is.
But it's actually like, oh, I am just the residual energy of something or other.
And then you will forget all about me.
Yes, exactly. It's like, oh, I wasn't really what I said I was. I was there when the Time War happened, and I happened to steal his jacket. Like that's
Something that sounds like a Moffat plot device. I mean, so it's one of those things I don't really know how credible it is, and I wouldn't really put a lot of stock in it.
It's one of those things where I'm not going to take anything seriously until, like, I actually, like, see it.
Yeah, I don't believe anything unless I see it from the BBC itself. Like, that's why I was so surprised when they announced that Billie Piper and David Tennant were going to be a Doctor Who.
Because that's the sort of thing that you hear rumors about.
I didn't believe it, and then all of a sudden, like, the Doctor Who Tumblr and, you know, BBC America is telling me that they're going to be on there, and I'm like, well.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, cool. Now, you know, just picture it now, you know there's going to be a scene where, like, Rose and Clara talk about the Doctor, or the Doctors.
Talk about their feelings.
Talk about their feelings.
Because that's what female characters do. They talk about our feelings.
Because they're not going to talk about themselves. They're going to talk about the other guy.
Talk about their experiences.
What's,
with
like,
the
that test where, like, to see if, like, a female character... I don't
know
what it's called.
I don't remember it. Remember it, but... Yeah, it's the whole thing where, like, two female characters talk to each other about something other than the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Not sure that's going to happen, but I wanted to. But, I mean, it's one of those things
It's the Bechdel test, I believe.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that kind of, like, with Sarah Jane and Rose, they didn't really do that. And they're two very strong Doctor Who females.
But also, like, I'm going to be uber fair, and, like, if you're just a normal person and then, like, the Doctor came...
Exactly, that's
it would be kind of a big deal.
Exactly.
It wouldn't just be like, oh, well, that was fun, I'm going to go do something else. It's like, this is kind of a big deal.
It's what you're going to talk about, like, let's be real. That's why I try to, you know, give Moffat some credit. Like, even though I don't like his characterization of female characters, definitely, I mean, a Doctor Who, it's built in there.
I mean, the show is called Doctor Who. Like, it's like, the show's about the Doctor.
Exactly, so it's going to have the female characters, and, I mean, I'm sure if they were male characters, they would be talking about the Doctor too, but...
Would they?
Well, actually, there's the issue here that I have. But...
There was a fantastic bonus feature on one of the Classic Who DVDs where it's like some of the female companions from like the 80s talking about stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the girls, I think it was Tegan, I'm not sure which one it was, but she said, yeah, in like the 5 Doctors anniversary special, there's a scene where the first Doctor is being an asshole and is like, go make us tea. And then in the script, I just went and made them tea. And I got so mad about it, so they changed it so that me and Turlo, who was the male companion, both went to go make tea.
Good for her. Gosh, see, that's...
Yeah.
See, I mean, like, so you can't blame Moffat for everything.
It's sort of just...
But it definitely, it kind of drives how the show is and how it's perceived is how he's writing it right now, so that's the only thing we can really talk about. So,
yeah.
Can't change the past.
So, I guess, is there anything else to say, or...
Oh, I mean, I can't believe this series is ending.
If you have something you want us to talk about in the next one,
let us know.
Now is the time.
Now is the time. Now or never. Do it.
Now or never.
I love talking about Doctor Who and James loves talking. We love talking about Doctor Who together. So yes, just ask.
So
us.
I'm sure next week is going to be extra long because it's there's going to be a lot to talk about.
So much to talk about. It will literally be Dammit Moffat because
literally
Moffat it.
Exactly.
Yay. That's exciting.
Exactly.
But so yeah, we had a great episode this week, and we have something to look forward to.
In a weird way.
In a weird way next week. So, love to hear your
then.
thoughts on this episode. You excited for next episode? Thoughts, feelings, questions?
So until then,
yes.
Al on Z. As they said in this episode, Al on Z.